Hi, I'm Travis,
And I'm Greg,
and you're listening to Building Blank.
a collaborative world-building podcast.
And today, we're talking about common establishments.
And then we're going to finish off Bunnylaug. So today we're going to talk about Blacksmiths and the other buildings in our village of Bunnylaug.
Yeah, so think establishments. I think we can all assume that there will be houses,
Yeah. And
residential.
maybe we can talk about that a little later. But we're going to hit some of the crucial ones, especially for a dwarven mine. Like the
A
blacksmith
mining town. We're probably going to have a blacksmith.
and a lumber mill.
Yeah, because we're on the edge of a forest, apparently. So, yeah, we'll have a lumber mill.
And then just a couple other ones is going to be a bakery, I think.
Yeah, I like doing bakeries for villages. And what else?
Everybody's got to eat. And then we're going to talk about some of the tropes, and we're going to draw heavily from some TV tropes here.
Yeah.
So just a nice shout out to them. And we're not sponsored by them in any way, but I really like using their website. So
Yeah, they're a good resource for writing just in general.
yeah.
All right, so
And
let's
then-
jump into it. So we're starting with blacksmiths as one of the potential, one of the establishments that you might have in a village. So, Greg, what are some of your favorite blacksmiths from pop culture?
Well, I'm going to have to go ahead and steal the Lord of the Rings ones first,
Yeah.
because straight from like even Sauron was a smith,
Mm-hmm.
and then Fëanor making the Silmarils,
Yeah.
down to Celebrimbor, the last of the House of Fëanor making the 3 Elven Rings.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with that one to
Okay.
start. How about
Perfect.
you?
Yeah, that's classic. I really like Kate from A Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
She's
Yes.
funny.
And a nice inversion of the
Mhm.
trope.
Exactly. Also notable other ones to mention are Gendry from Game of Thrones and Will Turner from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
He was a blacksmith, even though they spend very little time on that aspect.
Well, it's just kind of like his background,
Yeah.
right? It shows that he's a good blacksmith.
Mhm.
And then he practices with his swords there in the first one.
Yeah.
And
There's also a lot of cool ones in Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls in general, and I'm sure there's a lot of video game references that can be made. Because I find blacksmiths is one of the most popular establishments to use.
yeah, like the skills, you mean? Like
Yeah.
for your character?
Well, for especially like even as a non-player character or like a
NPC?
NPC. Most, if you're talking about like a fantasy like book or something, usually going to a blacksmith at some point is required because of
Yeah.
the kind of gear that you require for that kind of adventure.
Yeah, you need weapons and armor and,
Yeah.
and so on. And so let's just go into some of the tropes here.
Okay.
And so,
So first, actually, before we hit tropes, what is a blacksmith, Greg?
well, and this is taken from TV tropes as well. So this is actually one of the tropes, which is
Okay.
called the blacksmith.
The black. Okay.
Is a
gotcha.
trope. And so what they have there is someone who shapes things out of iron and steel, so called because this iron is a black metal. This craft has been around since humans first learned to shape iron and iron alloys. Metalworkers specializing in bronze or copper are sometimes referred to as
Okay.
redsmiths,
That's cool.
which I didn't know.
I
think
didn't know
that's
that
pretty
either.
And then anything that is a polished metal good are apparently known as whitesmiths. And then goldsmith and silversmith are self-explanatory.
Yeah, I have heard the term whitesmith before.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know where, but I have heard that term.
Yeah, like tin or pewter, apparently.
So what are some of the tropes that go into making a blacksmithy?
You mean like, well, I don't know. There's the badass beard.
Okay.
I don't. You think of a blacksmith, and then you got the
Usually
badass
where
beard.
my thoughts go to first.
Yeah, and so I looked some stuff up, and I don't know how reliable any of this is, but apparently the beard, because I thought it was kind of ironic that you'd like maybe burn your beard if you were a blacksmith, but apparently instead of burning your face and getting scars from any sparks or anything, you would get what apparently is called a forge trim. You just burn a few hairs off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it burn out and fizzle out, right? Instead of just scarring your face. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's probably the standard stereotypical blacksmith that you find. What other types of options do you have when you're building a blacksmith?
Yeah, like for the standard big beard, and then usually another trope called stout strength. Somebody who's stout, maybe a few extra pounds,
Like me.
but very strong,
Okay.
like you.
Well, I'm pretty stout. Got a couple extra pounds on me.
Yeah, and then there's a couple other tropes that you can go there with that way if you want to make them an actual more of a character, like the boisterous bruiser, kind of a large ham character that loves to eat and drink and battle.
Okay.
But you don't have to, because you can have like the strong and silent type as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, or just like the straight up big guy who is often in the 5-man band.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. You can just have a big guy.
Yeah. And these are more for like main character type.
Yeah.
Options or part of the party type options. But I think we're more looking towards like as an NPC.
Yeah. And like when you're making one, what are you thinking? And
yeah.
Do you want to make, because like we said this before, when you're following the tropes, like some people hate them and some people love them, but I like knowing them.
Yeah.
Period. Then, but yeah, so that's a nice way to kind of subvert, or not subvert it, but invert the trope.
Okay.
And so after that, with a couple of those things in mind, what are some smiths you have in your world other than our blank world here?
Yeah. So in mine,
and did you take into consideration any of these tropes and things when you were making yours?
Well, the one that immediately comes to mind for my world is McGregor and Sons Ironworks in Rosencore.
Right.
And Gregor McGregor was a character that I had for a one-shot that died.
Oh, no.
And his the joke was like the McGregor clan, everyone's named Gregor.
Okay.
So like his he was a knight, like a holy knight, and he had a squire who was also Gregor McGregor, like his cousin, right? So the Gregor McGregor that you guys met was the cousin of my character that I played that died.
Oh, okay.
Right, and then his sons were all named Gregor, and it was, I mean, kind of like more standard, but it was I thought it was a funny trope, like not necessarily to blacksmiths in general, but
yeah. And then, well, I guess another trope, I guess, is that dwarves
are known as smiths.
Yeah. And so in my world, I really love dwarves. I'm not gonna.
They're one of my favorite fantasy races, to be honest.
But with that being said, I didn't want to do dwarves. I wanted to do something just like a little bit different.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't want to say a little bit different, but I just didn't want to do like the standard.
Yeah, stereotypical. Races. Yeah.
So I made dwarves, or everything that you would think of associated with a dwarf, and then I just made them regular humans.
Okay.
And so my blacksmiths were pretty much all of these tropes. They're just the stout strength and badass beard, and then just the blacksmith. So I did mine pretty straight, but I'm also not done world building yet. So yeah. I can maybe spice it up a little bit.
Yeah. I did have another one in, I just want to mention quick, I did have a halfling blacksmith.
Okay.
It was like a young guy, and then, yeah, so he was like, kind of had the, not so much weapon base, but like he was in a farming town, so he would make like tools and stuff, but his like secret passion was like building sculptures out of metal.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
You guys never really got into that.
Kind of like the Iron Giant.
Kind of, yeah, like same idea.
But after hearing some of these tropes, I don't know about you, but I know that I think I would really like to make one of these wrench wenches. They're called apparently on TV tropes, where it's like the mechanic kind of blacksmith girl.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, so if you got any interesting blacksmiths in any of your worlds,
yeah, let us know. We want to hear about your blacksmiths. All right, let's move on to lumber mills. Now, what kind of tropes do you think of when you think of lumber mills?
Yeah, there's really not too many. Like the only one I can think of is like the old timey villain, strapping down the damsel in distress or the hero onto the sawmill, and having the blade coming towards them.
Really could have nothing to do with the actual owner of the lumber mill.
Yeah,
it could or it could not. Yeah, scouring. That's the only thing I could think of. But you could do some pretty cool things. Are there any notable lumber mills that you think of from pop culture?
Honestly, I can't think of any.
No, there's a couple from Skyrim. I remember because there
Yeah.
are mills in Skyrim. Specifically, I can't remember what it's called, but the one in at the base of the mountain there in Iverstead.
Oh, Iverstead. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lumber mill there, and the lady who owns it wants you to kill a bunch of bears. And then there's one near, I think it's near Riften, where they're owned. No, it's Falkreath, where it's owned by vampires.
Oh, really?
And they're only out there working during the night, but during the day it's like dead.
Also, that's kind of a cool twist on a lumber mill.
Yeah, going through the night there.
Yeah, it's different. I like that. And then, well, lumber mills, you need some people. You need the lumber.
Yeah.
And
so where do you get the lumber?
Who cuts it down?
Lumberjacks.
Yeah.
Or lumberjills.
Lumberjills, is that what they're called?
Oh, they are now.
Nice. And I don't know, can you think of any of your favorite lumberjacks or sawmill owners from?
Well, there's a guy on the paper towel
bounty or something.
Yeah, I don't know which, but yeah, the guy on the paper towel.
Oh, there's Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan, yeah, he's a famous lumberjack.
Giant.
I know you were talking about one that you were thinking of.
Yeah, I love Wolverine from X-Men Origins, and you seem to hold some reservations there.
I don't really like the movie, but that's the best part of the movie is where he's just being a lumberjack.
Maybe that's why I love the movie. It just starts off that way, and I'm like, I'm in. I like whatever you put in the rest of this movie. I love it.
Okay, yeah, because you're watching him be a lumberjack.
But yeah, lumber mills are pretty straightforward. Like it's a lumber mill.
Yeah,
there's lumberjacks.
Do you have any in your world?
Well, I have that village. Remember Woodsaw?
Oh yes, Woodsaw.
But I didn't actually build a lumber mill.
Okay.
But now that we're talking about it, I'm like, hey, why not? I could put that in there. I could, I guess it's not done that often. We can't really think of any.
Yeah. Well, the only one I can think of from like specific example from my world was Diana's Mill.
Yeah. I remember
which is just run by, it was a whole town, but the mill there was run by Diana, who was also the mayor of the town.
And again, that was pretty standard, eh? You didn't do anything too crazy. Well, I guess,
it was just there. There was no plot points about it.
Yeah. And if we missed some really famous lumber mills, let us know.
Yeah. If you can think of any, or if you've made any in any of your stories, let us know. We want to hear about them.
Yeah. And so should we move on to bakeries and / mills?
Yeah. Bakeries. There's a little bit more meat here. I don't know about you, but I love a good baked good.
Yeah. Well, in light of my recent dietariness.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been eating that many baked goods lately, but bread was probably my favorite thing in the world at one point.
That's too bad. I've been thinking about learning how to make bread.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you just get that fresh right out of the oven bread.
Oh, it's so good. But anyway, this isn't a breadcast. Let's talk about some favorites or things.
Okay. So a bakery is somewhere that turns wheat into bread and cakes and such.
Yeah. Or just grain.
Or grain.
Just any grain.
Yeah. Any grain into whatever you want. My favorite, I think, from pop culture is I don't remember what it's called. It's probably a complicated Japanese name, but from Kiki's Delivery Service, Osono owns a bakery with her husband, and she rents a room to Kiki.
Okay, I haven't seen that one yet.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. You should. And then again, there's like random ones from video games.
Yeah.
Can you think of any bakeries?
Well, I just started reading Lord of the Rings again, and right in the very beginning is the Sandyman. He runs the old mill.
Oh yes. Okay.
And then Ted Sandyman kind of comes up later in the book, his son, and he's kind of that guy that cooks his kids into a pie or something.
Oh yeah, the rat chef.
Yeah, the
cook.
rat or something like that. The rat chef.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of, you can go kind of like the other way because bakeries are kind of, nostalgic and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go the other way, it kind of makes it
You
just
can
that much creepier. You know?
Kind of like make it a horror type.
Yeah, because it's supposed to taste good. And then, yeah.
And you find out that you've been eating people.
Yeah, that can be kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to play with there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could call him kind of a bit of a villain as far as hobbits go.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the shadiest hobbit.
Yeah. The other notable one I can think of is not a bakery, but a baker. Game of Thrones. What's that kid's name?
Oh, wasn't it Hot Pie?
Hot Pie, yes. Hot Pie from Game of Thrones.
And he was at they left him at the crossroads.
Yeah,
Inn.
exactly.
Right. Forgot all about that guy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, till just now. Yeah, actually, Game of Thrones I love their food that he goes
They're
into.
so descriptive of the food.
And there's that one, I can't remember, again, I probably should have looked this up earlier. But also just, I wanted to make one note that I thought was funny while I was looking up tropes for bakeries, was one that was just called Baguette Beatdown.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it's just anytime you use a baguette as an improvised weapon. And
that could be fun.
And then apparently...
You did that in my Halloween one shot, didn't you?
I did, and that's because I found this trope. And so you were looking at me like, why are you grabbing a baguette? And I was just thinking, you'll find out. It's a baguette beatdown. And then I hit that zombie with it, and you're like, yeah, it's bread. It breaks. Nothing happens.
Some stale bread. Yeah, you hit them. All right.
Yeah, so just with that overview, are there any bakeries in your world?
There actually is. There's two dedicated bakeries that I've made. There was the Harvest Moon Bakery in Stillshire, the Halloween town. And the other one you guys never went to, but in Razancourt, there was a Philistine Bites, which is run by Tana, which was one of Emma's characters from a campaign that we played in together way back, like her first, who was a priest and a baker.
Yeah. And she bakes too.
She does,
Emma.
yes.
So.
Yeah. My partner Emma is a baker. So there's lots of ideas and things there.
All right. Well, I actually realizing that I got a bunch of holes in my world building that I'm gonna have to fill, but I'm not done writing, obviously. So.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, no, I can't think of one single bakery or even a mill. Nope. So I guess I'll have to get on that.
Yeah. Well, this is the good thing about doing this is that we now kind of can see what we've missed.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, there's the two ways you can kind of come at it, right? Like, there's like the quest and the hero building and that whole journey. But then there's the world building that you can come from too. So I always come from the writing angle. Yeah. And so now doing this with you, looking over like, okay, you need this in a
What's
village.
the other angle? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I need a bakery or a mill at least.
Yeah. Or some kind of food producing something. Yeah. So
what else do you need?
Speaking of adventuring and heroes, tell me about town watches.
All right. Well, again, I'm just thinking of a couple favorites. There's the Gold Cloaks from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
King's Landing, and then the Night Watch. I don't know if you call it a town watch, but they're like
it's like more of a military order.
Yeah. And then what was that one in the Shire? I think they're just called the Bounders or the Sheriffs.
Yeah.
They're kind of a bit of a town watch.
Okay.
How would you do? Can you think of any?
Yeah, there was just, of course, Skyrim guards.
Yeah.
Anywhere, stuff like that. Yeah, generally in a lot of fantasy, I think they're just described as city guards or town guards or the guard. Kind of drawing a blank on some like specific named ones. I know. Oh, what was it? Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of any actual other than the ones from Game of Thrones.
Well, that's kind of what I like about George R. R. Martin. Like, he takes these tropes and kind of he subverts and inverts a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the city guards are just kind of there. Yeah. You know, you might bribe them.
Yeah.
You might like they could be decked out in all this nice armor, but then they're super easy to kill.
Yeah. So it also, depending on the setting or the city or whatever, they could be an official city guard, stereotypical all uniform armor, or for maybe a smaller village or settlement frontier, they might not be as organized. Might be like a loose militia, or it's a guard, but everyone brings their own armor.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the Shire one.
Yeah,
there's no official anything.
It's just like a neighborhood watch,
and then they get a feather in their cap. That's the only
signifying marker,
designation. Right? I guess if you wanted to kind of go a little old west timey, you could have like the sheriff.
Yeah,
not a town watch or anything, but just the one guy or the marshal
who then hires some deputies, right?
So
you can take town guards in many different directions. You can go the full regimented. We have a banner. This is the town guard. We have our uniforms. You can go just, here's a collection of folk who volunteer to basically be a neighborhood watch.
But he made a speedy escape.
Yeah. Do you have any specific guard units?
Yeah, I kind of have one that I'm working with, and I haven't really figured out exactly what they are, but right now all I'm calling them are the Sentinels.
Okay, that's a cool name.
Yeah, because that's what Sentinels do. Right?
Yeah, that's a really cool idea.
And so, I haven't figured out if they're just straight on military. Yeah, and then they also perform the function of guards and watching. Yeah. And then there's another separate one that is for the military or what. But yeah, I got something I'm working with there.
Yeah, so that's the other thing is like in the Legion territory or the Empire territory, the Legion itself does both functions.
Yeah, and so I think that's kind of what I'm going with, but I haven't decided. Okay. And then, I actually have some temple guards that are, I'm just specific. Call them heavy sentinels. Okay. Because like the regular sentinels just kind of wear like leather and stuff, and these ones would be a little more heavily armed. But and if we missed any interesting town watches, let us know. Let us know if you've created any specific orders or town watches or any of we talked about today. Yeah. But with that, I think we're going to take a break. And after we will start making some of these establishments. Yeah, we'll go through what we just talked about and see what we can do. Sounds good. See you after. You can go the other route where it's more like outlaw, right? Yeah. You got a pirate island that has some dedicated folk that are watching the docks or keeping the peace. I mean, you'd think even if it's like kind of gang run, like there's always got to be somebody enforcing something. Yeah. Or it seems that way, right? In any society. Exactly. And even if they're like just taking bribes or running protection rackets. Well, because the people on top, whoever they may be, want to keep things in order so they can stay there, right? Exactly. So with that in mind, do you have any that come to your mind right away? I don't have any named units. I know when you guys were in Razancore last in my game, Deimos ran into some trouble with the guard. Yeah, he did. Yeah, so he started banging on random people's doors looking for a lady he had a run-in with a couple years prior. I like what Rhea said. She's like, "You carried a torch for her this whole time?" It had been like 5 years. It'd been like 5 years, yeah. So he's like banging on random doors. Guards get called. Of course, this is a really sketchy city, so they throw him in the dungeon, sans all his equipment. Yeah, and then he's trying to intimidate them, saying he's part of the Legion. Which has no sway over here. Yeah, it would probably make it a situation. They rough him up a little bit more. Yeah. He finally gets his stuff back. No gold. It's all gone. And we had a lot because we'd been hoarding it. And he had the whole entire group fund. Yeah, because he's our admiral. Now. Yeah. All right. Hey, guys, we're on break. And me and Greg have been really racking our brain trying to come up with a name for these centipede monsters. Yeah, centipede monsters is kind of a mouthful. Yeah, so what we want to do is we want to get your help. Yeah, we'll do another poll or no? No, we send in. Yeah, so I'm going to start a thread on our Facebook and on our Instagram. And if you guys just want to like let us know what you think we should call these things, Yeah. You can do that on Facebook, Building Blank, a collaborative world building podcast.
Or Instagram at Building Blank Podcast.
Yeah. Or you can just email us if you have an idea or anything really.
Yeah.
buildingblankpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and you can let us know on any of those options. If you want a shout out, let us know. We'll shout you out next time. Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to say was, if you know anyone who might be interested in world building or writing or GMing or just RPGs in general, maybe give us a share. Let people know.
Yeah, share and a like on Facebook.
We really appreciate it. It really helps us grow. And yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the break.
Yeah, we'll get back to the show. And we're back.
We're back, and we're going to talk about some other buildings.
Yeah, so I think we're going to start with a blacksmith. Now, what were you thinking for a blacksmith? I know we said last time during the episode that good old Jeremiah was a former blacksmith.
Yeah, well, I had an idea, and just like as an aside, this whole section is unscripted.
Yeah, I just want to let people know that when we don't even have notes for this house.
Yeah, I mean, not to say the first part is scripted. That's just some good notes we have. But yeah, so this is all just basically brainstorming.
Yeah, we've had a couple questions about this, and yeah, this whole back half is just a flat brainstorm.
Yeah, and so, but with that being said, I had an idea a couple nights ago.
Yeah,
for the name of a ironworks.
Hit me with it.
And so this isn't just off the top of my head. I thought about this for a couple days, but I was thinking Longforge.
Longforge.
And then it would be named after the guy. And I thought a good name might be Fergus Longforge.
Fergus Longforge. Who is Fergus Longforge?
I kind of thought of him as like a medieval titan of industry.
Okay.
Yeah, he just like self-made dwarf, and he just kind of started from the bottom.
I like it.
And like Drake, he's here now. And so
Fergus Longforge.
And then I was thinking the Longforge Ironworks would be kind of maybe a little on the nose because it's like a long forge, but it would be like more than just a blacksmith. Like they'd have a foundry.
Okay.
Or something like that. And then they'd be producing pig iron, which is just like just straight iron basically. And then they'd be exporting that. Mm-hmm. But then they'd maybe be importing some steel and little bits of copper and stuff to make some alloys.
And having this kind of like factory right on where the mine is probably a great idea.
Yeah, and I was really thinking of it more like a 19th century setup, but like medieval-ish.
Yeah, so kind of like...
So no steam or anything, but...
Kind of like how like Avatar: The Last Airbender has like some modern-ish tropes, even though it's a fantasy setting.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of like that. And then just like having some rail cars coming in, like straight into the...
From the mine, straight to the ironworks. I like that.
And then just like... Then the whole operation's right under there.
So does Fergus own the mine as well?
Well, no, because I was thinking if his last name's Longforge, then he wouldn't be a Bunnylaug necessarily.
Maybe married into it?
Maybe, because he's a self-made man.
Maybe.
Or a dwarf, I should say.
Self-made dwarf.
Yeah, so now the Longforges are...
really the real power in town.
Gaining prominence.
Okay.
But yeah, so I don't know if he would actually live there, though.
Oh, okay.
You know
so maybe he just... Oh, yeah, okay.
Like you're probably there for the startup when he comes, but top dog like that.
Maybe he's got a nice coastal house somewhere in a more temperate climate.
Yeah. And so we can actually... So that's not the actual blacksmith, but that's like the money and the power behind the thing.
I like that. That's a different... That's like subverting all of those tropes that we just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like way out of left field. I like it. Well, I like that idea.
I'm kind of drawing a bit on my bit of my work experience because like I worked in a foundry for a summer and then worked at a steel production plant when I was younger, and then I was a security guard at a mine when I just turned 18. Oh,
so this is like the perfect topic for you.
Yeah, so I kind of got to see actually how some of it works. Like on the other side of that is it's not like a huge town or anything still.
Yeah.
Like once I thought of that, I was thinking maybe this whole place is more like a work camp that's kind of grown into a little more than that.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like a village.
Because it was a work camp. That makes sense. I like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I do like that. But it puts a bigger, feels more grand, you know?
Yeah, well, it makes like, to me, it feels like the world's a little more lived in.
Yeah.
Like there's something outside of Bunnylaug.
Yeah.
Now. And yeah, so I really like that Fergus Longforge guy.
Okay. I like it.
So you were going to say about Jeremiah being a former blacksmith.
Yeah.
What were you thinking along those lines?
Well, now I've changed my mind, but now I think maybe he did own a forge, and maybe now he got bought out by Fergus, and he used that retirement to go into the inn.
Kind of like how a prospector he'll stake his claim.
Yeah.
And then kind of start a small operation.
Yeah.
And now I'm really just thinking about the movie There Will Be Blood.
You love that movie.
I absolutely love that movie. But he starts off and it's just him, one small little mine. And then you might have had Jeremiah there as like one of the first guys as a blacksmith.
Yeah.
And then they ended up selling or something to Fergus.
To a much bigger entity. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like he had the original, just small smithy doing his thing, and he got bought out by this Fergus.
Yeah, and he thought, hey, maybe I'll
do my retirement. Yeah.
Got nowhere else to go.
He's got kids, right?
Well, yeah, he would have met Bunifer.
Yeah, he met Bunifer, wanted to settle down.
So maybe he didn't stay there immediately, but moved back or something.
Who knows? Maybe.
That's what we guess have to figure out.
Well, and really, that's up to everybody. All right. Is there any other ideas for our blacksmith?
That was mainly the only thing I had.
Got a bunch of workers.
Like I was thinking, you would still have little mini forges in there.
Okay.
For making tools and stuff and repairing, probably a little more.
Yeah.
And probably still need a farrier.
Yeah, and some stuff for the mine and surrounding industries. Like there's still going to be like the traditional forge included, but also all this production. So there's way more workers than just like the one guy doing his work with an apprentice.
Yeah, and then when I was thinking of it being more like a factory, I was thinking maybe the houses or most of them would be kind of like camp living too.
Yeah.
And so it'd be more like a barracks.
Barracks and bunkhouses with like, I really imagined similar to like how Aspen Park is, like where you grew up.
Oh yeah. Well, that was
barracks. Yeah.
Yeah. And
but like actual like small homes, just like, neatly in rows.
And
yeah.
Oh, what am I trying to say here?
You lost it, didn't you?
Yeah, I lost it.
Okay, that's okay. So, all right. So we got our ironworks in. What is next? The logging plant.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Just because I thought of it again. When we were talking about the centipedes and their armor or their carapace.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe the town guards, because we're going to make a somewhat of a watch, right?
Yeah.
Would all have like a chunk of that as a shield.
That's cool. Or like their armor's made out of it.
Or just completely, yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense when you have a mine and metalworks.
Yeah.
But like a chunk of it as a signifier anyway.
Well, it's kind of, more as
like a pauldron or something.
Yeah, just like so that it designates them as.
Yeah. I like that. So with that, why don't we jump down to our watch?
Okay.
What are we going to call them?
I don't know. Because
the Senta Squad.
The Senta Squad. Well, that's actually what I was thinking. But we haven't gotten a name for our centipedes yet.
Yeah.
And so we might need some help with that later. But, well, maybe if we don't name it after them, what are some good town watch names?
All right. So, what about something like the Order of...
I think the lumber mill would be outside the village, kind of.
Okay, just a little ways off.
So, what do you think of that? Well, yeah, let's do the lumber mill then.
Lumber mill, okay. So we got a lumber mill a little ways out of town. Is a small operation, probably a bigger operation if they're running.
They need a lot of wood and.
Yeah. So.
But what I was thinking was that maybe before this whole thing became a big operation it is, there were some humans around.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that even makes sense if Jeremiah was one of the first guys there. And so I would think that maybe they're not in the mine
proper,
like compound proper, yeah. But then kind of were outside of the wall. Or if the dwarves had a bit of a stone wall and then another section and then that palisade.
Okay.
And then the sawmill
was outside.
Or within that palisade.
Okay.
Like in that secondary part.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But who owns the mill?
Well, human, I guess, right?
Yeah, okay, let's call him a human. Who owns it?
Right now I'm thinking of the woodcutters and stuff from Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Kind of the men, or I might be getting my signals crossed. No, I'm thinking of stuff from the Silmarillion now. Oh, I wish I remembered that name, because then I could copy it.
We don't want to copy.
I know, but not copy, but be inspired by it.
Okay.
But luckily I don't remember it, so
yeah. So I'm thinking this one will be a lady.
A lady? Okay.
I think so. Human lady. Let's call her. I like the name Persephone.
Well, that's a good name.
It's a good name.
Greek mythology.
Yeah, I like that. Persephone. What's her last name?
Persephone. I don't know. Can we make it
Carver?
There we go. I was going to say make it wood themed, and you took the words right out of my mouth.
Persephone Carver. Okay, owning the mill. What is this? What will she call her mill?
Well, we got some Greek themes going on now.
Okay. In
there, and well, would she name it, or would it just be the mill? Because it's be the only one around, right?
It would be the only one around. I personally, when I'm writing, for my world, I like to give things names.
Yeah, it's easier to keep track of it.
Easier to keep track of as a world builder and as like when I'm writing stories stuff. I find it easier to keep track of if I name things. You don't have to, of course. Like you can do whatever you guys want.
What if because we don't have to name everything.
No. You know what? How about this? How about what we'll do is I'll throw a post up on Facebook and Instagram. And I'll get your suggestions. And then maybe we'll get a bunch of suggestions and then do a poll or something.
Yeah, I like it. Maybe if we don't think of a name in a certain amount of time, we'll just say, well, we can't think of one. Help us out.
Yeah, exactly.
or something.
So what we're going to do. So if you guys can help us out with Persephone Carver's Lumber Mill, let us know what you think the name should be.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
All right.
So I guess we got a couple things left. We'd have the bakery.
Bakeries are fun. There's some neat puns and things you can do. But who owns the bakery?
Yeah. Well, before we get into that, I just want to say you made some great miner's pie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And that just kind of made me think of that, obviously. Yeah.
So last night, Greg was over for dinner and we had a miner's pie, which was very lovely. My partner made it. And honestly, it was the best shepherd's pie I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. So I was just thinking like, that made me start thinking about those coal miners pies. Okay. Where it's like completely encased in the dough.
Yeah. Like a hand pie.
Yeah. I guess that's what you call it.
Or a pizza pop.
Or a pizza pop.
That's basically what they are.
Yeah, but just like not pizza on the inside.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just imagine all these like dwarven workers, miners going down and all taking a bunch of these hand pies.
So I imagine the grain is probably imported.
Yeah. Like the whole flavor of the place seems pretty wild.
Yeah. Like a wild frontier type is so kind of the vibes I'm getting.
Yeah. And so you wouldn't just have a farm.
No.
There. And if you did, like it might be herd animals or might be
or
a new
goats
farm
or something
that just hasn't been like raided yet.
Or like goats or sheep or something that are more suited to that type of climate.
Yeah, you can take them out and then bring them back in at night.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking that's probably what the majority of the meat's going to be. It's like goat.
Yeah. Or like venison or anything.
Yeah, hunted meat.
Yeah, so they're probably importing, like you say.
Okay.
So that means that they're going to have a mill because it's probably easier to transport the grain whole, right?
Yeah.
Or not, probably it is. And so then they're going to have a mill there and the bakery. But
Is it one establishment or two separate establishments? Probably one.
Yeah. I mean, kind of given the way everything else has started to unfold and it all kind of seems to be self-contained.
Yeah.
Then it probably would be. I mean, that's more efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just grind the mill at one end, flour, and then just like bake good right out the back end.
Yeah. Like a big conveyor belt. So who is the baker?
Yeah, let's start with that. I like the idea of another. Well, actually, no. We did a woman for the lumber mill. Let's do a dude for the bakery.
All right. Okay. I like it. Dwarven, human, gnomish.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking of doing like all the standard blacksmith tropes for a bakery.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's what I was thinking. Then you said gnome, and now I kind of want to do a gnome one.
Okay.
So I don't know. What do you think?
I like the idea. I do like the idea of a big burly dude just being this like sweet baker.
Yeah. And I mean, unless you see him like kneading the dough, he's just real aggressive about it.
Real getting in there. Okay, yeah. You know what? I like that better.
Yeah. We'll put the gnome somewhere else.
Okay, we'll figure out something for gnome.
We'll put them somewhere else because I think we do want to show that they're represented.
Yeah, I think we'll find a spot for a gnome.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a burly. Do you think a dwarven dude?
I think I like the idea of a big burly dwarven dude, big beard, tied up in like a
chin bun.
A chin bun.
I didn't know what else to say.
I was gonna say a hairnet, but I don't know if they would have hairnets in a fantasy setting.
I don't know. Depends on who he is, I think.
I guess maybe
because even if it was mandatory, would he wear one?
I don't know. Or maybe let's like tucked into the apron.
Yeah, I like that. That makes most sense.
Good old chin apron.
I don't know. Anytime like I'm thinking of dwarves, I just like knowing what their hair color is.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like a dark brown for this.
Yeah. Well, we said blacksmith, right?
Yeah.
They usually kind of got that black beard going on.
Yeah.
So
dark brown. I'm actually thinking a lot like your hair color.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dark brown.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. I like that. And
his name's Angus.
Angus. Okay.
Okay.
Angus.
Angus what? Angus.
The first thing that came to mind, I don't even want to use this, but it was bread butter. So it doesn't even make any sense. But no, let's do something else.
Angus McMuffin.
No, that's not even. That doesn't make any sense.
Why not?
Because that's like a trademark thing, isn't it?
Probably.
An egg McMuffin.
What? Yeah, we don't want to get sued by McDonald's.
Yeah.
So yeah, Angus. Angus what? Angus who? Angus
the baker. But would he have a baker's name? That's what I'm wondering. Like, has his family always been bakers, and that's why he's doing it?
I imagine he's the black sheep. Imagine most of his family works in the mine, and he's like, no, Dad. I just want to bake.
He's kind of like Zoolander then.
My passion, kind of. Kind of.
Well, I mean,
Angus Zoolander.
Yeah, we won't copy McDonald's. We'll just copy Zoolander.
What's Ben Stiller gonna do?
Angus Stiller.
All right, Angus.
Well, how about we just call him Angus?
Let's call him Angus. Old Angus.
And then we'll try and see if anything kind of like percolates while we talk about other things, and we'll come back to him at the end.
So what's his bakery? What did he call it?
Yeah, would it be his own bakery?
I like the idea of that.
Yeah, that is more fun.
Yeah, I like. Well, typically in this kind of setting, the person running it is usually the owner.
Right.
I find.
Yeah.
You might have assistants and such, or apprentices and whatever, but usually the main person I found in most fantasy settings is like the owner of the building.
Okay, so we could do some funny plays on words if we want, like hot buns.
Hot buns,
or we can do something a little more not supposed to be funny.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I want to run with the miner's pie idea.
Okay. Like in what way?
Like I want to kind of reference his main thing that he's known for is these miner's pies, right?
Is that what they call them?
Maybe. Sure, why not? These little like hand pies that they take down to the mine for their lunch.
Okay.
So like kind of want to make a reference to that. Like
Yeah, how would we do that?
like the I don't know, so the tasty pie, no. The
Oh, I see. Okay, that's which way you're thinking.
yeah.
I thought you wanted the miner's pie in the entire word in the name. In the
No, just like to
Just a
reference
Okay.
reference it. So the Miner's Delight Bakery.
Miner's Delight. Okay. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Miner's Delight. The Miner's Delight Bakery.
By Angus something.
By Angus.
What about Moody?
Angus Moody.
I don't know. I was just thinking M and M. Like
I want to put a Mick in there for some reason.
Yeah.
You
love doing that.
I'm stuck on the McMuffin, but I know it's not a good idea.
As a last name?
Yeah.
Well, we could say McGuffin.
Angus McGuffin. I love it. Confuse your players.
Yeah. For anyone.
Angus McGuffin, who owns the Miner's Delight Bakery.
I feel like if we're going to name him McGuffin, there's got to be like
a reason, a plot reason.
Yeah, McGuffin.
Maybe he has a quest to deliver like a bunch of these pies in 30 minutes or less.
Oh, and they're the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
What would that even? No, that wouldn't be called the MacGuffin. In 30 minutes or less. I just got that. Yeah, these miners' pizza pops.
Yeah, exactly.
In 30 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think of that?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's funny.
Okay, perfect. I like that. So now we have a blacksmith, we have a bakery, we have a town watch, we have a
lumber
mill. Is there anything we're missing that you can think of that should go into this village?
Well, there's the leather worker. There's a possible messenger service.
Yeah.
There's maybe a mason.
The other thing I wanted to mention, because we brought it up a couple of times, is like a hunting lodge.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Which I didn't look up any tropes or do any research on hunting lodges, but I think this is where we put our gnome, this guy who runs the hunting lodge.
What if it was Bunny Lodge?
The Bunny Lodge.
Because it's like Bunnylaug.
I like it.
We don't have to do that now.
Okay.
It's just the first thing that came to mind. Okay, so Hunter's Lodge, and then a gnome.
The Hunter's Burrow.
There we go. I like it.
Yeah, instead of like the Hunter's Hall, the Hunter's Burrow.
Or the Hunter's Den.
Hunter's Den, I like it.
Yeah.
Hunter's Den and
like a bear.
Like a gnomish gentleman named something like pompous. I like the idea.
Oh, they always have such crazy names. It's a hard one to think of just off the top of the head.
Like Commodore
Commodus? Because that's like from Gladiator.
Okay.
What do you want to do that?
Sure, yeah, Commodus.
Yeah, I don't know.
Commodus. Large bow. Commodus longbow.
Okay, I like it.
Sure, Commodus longbow. I like it. All right.
And then when you hear that name, you're gonna think of a big guy.
Yeah, but it's just this like tiny little gnome dude.
Yeah. How does he fire his longbow?
He probably has like a crossbow or something.
He's got a ballista.
Yeah, he's just riding around in it.
Yeah.
Just on wheels. I like that. That's fun.
Well, they probably need some heavy duty equipment.
Big ass bugs.
For those bugs. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got a bunch of businesses for Bunnylaug. We've built a nice little village here. What is next? I think next.
Oh, I wanted to
yes?
just do a quick reference to, remember we were saying, how would we even get into this place? And I was just thinking that maybe that was already a quest
to come here.
And then that just makes it super easy.
Yeah.
So when you get
there, I don't really think like for villages, you really need a reason. Like as long as you're.
Yeah. Well, no, but I mean, if there was like a trouble at the mine,
okay,
they might not be letting people in. Right.
Who knows, right? It might be coming in on delivery or something for some of the import stuff that they need. It sounds like they need to import a lot of goods.
Yeah. just what I think of when I'm writing.
Yeah.
Like how do I get them there?
Okay.
And so anyway, that I just wanted to mention that.
All right, for sure. Well, I think with that we can call that a wrap on that section, and let's talk about our weekly inspiration. So, Greg, what inspired you this week?
Okay, wait. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, we can. I can do that. So this week, we canceled our game, right, because of the code red. But I was working on something because you guys are headed to the city of Zazism in my game.
Yep.
Because your character proposed to one of the NPCs, and I've decided that now I need to build this orcish city that I've been putting on the back burner. So I kind of took that and I had an idea, and it's kind of in the Badlands part of the desert. So I went on. I got a trial account for World of Warcraft.
Nice.
And I went on and I just wanted to go look at the Orc City Orgrimmar there, because I remember from years ago when I was playing it, it was really cool, and I just wanted to see how they did a couple things.
Yeah, I really like that. Why do we stop playing?
Well, I don't know why you stopped playing, but I played for like 4 years by myself, and then
I think I did 1 month.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, so I was on there and I was running around because I couldn't remember my password or what email address I used, so I couldn't find my account. So I started a new one, trial account, jumped on a troll.
You jumped on a troll?
Yeah, it was a troll druid. Rendered out as a cat.
How did you meant you just okay?
Yeah. So I went and I just like kind of ran around. I got to the point where I could run around the city, just randomly, just to see how they did things. So then I said, okay, this is cool. I like the idea of having it like in the valley, and then like the H section kind of separated by these big ass gates. So that's kind of how I based Zazism off of. Was cool. This Orcish city? Yeah.
I look forward to going there. Too bad.
Yeah, we'll might be a couple weeks, but we'll find out when it just gives me more time to prep. Really.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's cool. I really like that.
Yeah, thank you.
I look forward to it.
So that's my weekly inspiration. How about you?
Okay. I just had to remember which one I was doing, and I had a couple, and now that I'm looking at it, because I wrote it down, I'm not too sure which one to do, but I think I'm just gonna say that I was watching a show last night, and this girl cuts her hand or her finger, and then this guy who was a doctor in like the 19th century, licks his finger and like puts on her wound.
Okay.
And I was just like, what? That's weird. Like, mouth is full of bacteria, right? That's all we ever hear.
Like dogs, right?
Yeah. And then he says that the in the show he says that saliva is full of not antibacterial but blood clotting, and that it helps the wound heal. So I had to look it up. And apparently, and again, I'm not a doctor, so don't just start going licking people's wounds, especially now. I just got to put that in there. So
do not do this at home.
Yeah, definitely. But if you're interested, I'd say also like look it up, and then again, don't listen to me. But on this PubMed website, it's like saliva contains substantial amounts of tissue factor, which dramatically accelerates blood clotting. Subsequently, epidermal growth factor in saliva promotes the proliferation of epithelial cells, which I don't know what that means. But then also, it has an enzyme called lysozyme that attack the cell walls of bacteria. And apparently, tears also have that lysozyme enzyme, which keeps our eyes clean. So, like, tears on a wound, which just makes me think of Borat, because he's always got those gypsy tears that he like. Anyway, whatever. So I don't think I'm gonna run with that idea so much, but just like, I don't know. I started thinking about just something along those lines. I haven't figured it out yet, and like maybe not overt either, but just like that would mean that technically kissing a wound would, theoretically be good for it.
Yeah,
and I just thought that was really interesting.
Okay, like a healing kiss type.
Yeah,
situation. Okay, that's interesting. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, and so like, I don't know, with some of my ideas, kind of like we were talking about before, you just put them in your brain and kind of file them away for later.
Yeah,
and then they will change over time. But yeah, so that was my weekly inspiration.
I like it. Perfect. All right, and I think that that'll wrap up our episode. All right, and I think next week we are going to start working on another larger type of settlement.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps up things for Bunnylaug.
Yeah, so if what we're going to do is we're going to throw up another poll. This time we're only going to have forest and coastal, because those are the other two more popular ones that came on the last poll. So we're going to throw those up on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, Building Blank, a collaborative world building podcast, and Instagram, Building Blank podcast. Or you can email us, of course. And what's our email, Greg?
buildingblankpodcast@gmail.com.
All right. The other thing I wanted to ask you guys is I wanted to know some of if you guys want to create some thorps or hamlets that are neighbors to Bunnylaug.
Yeah, and just keep in mind it's kind of a frontier town, so
yeah. So yeah, let us know what the stick is. Maybe give us a quick rundown, like a paragraph or a couple sentences or something, on what you want to throw on our map.
Yeah, well, I think that wraps it up for today.
All right, perfect. Thank you guys all for listening. We really appreciate it.
That's what keeps the collaborative part of this.
Yeah, and if you want to share it with your friends, feel free. The more the merrier, of course. Right, and I think we're gonna